hospital and died. Tony was hospitalized. He survived. The ordeal, though, has changed his view on the virus. He wrote this on a blog, quote, "Try imagining someone you care about on life support. Try being the one to pick the only 10 allowed to attend a funeral." He went on to say, "Try imagining one more thing. That pool party, the mixer, or family reunion you're pushing for, resulting in you being cold and alone in a hospital bed fighting for your life. Imagine the only human contact you feel is a stranger's rubber glove giving you medication, checking your vitals, and changing your diaper. That is exactly what has happened to our family." There's the words of Tony Green. He joins me tonight. Tony, can you just walk us through what happened, how your family got infected?
Yes, it was actually 6 of us that got together on the weekend of June 12th. My parents, my partner's parents, and the 2 of us, just, an at-home kind of get together.
You were pretty skeptical of the whole pandemic around that time.
Actually, before that, so much misinformation that's out there, and you get trapped going down a rabbit hole with people, not necessarily just media per se, but everybody that's within your circle. You start hearing a bunch of chatter. You form your opinions based on what you're hearing, and a little bit to do with what you hope to hear.
So you got together. You had a nice weekend. The 6 of you. You ended up in the hospital from COVID-19. I understand you started feeling sick even that weekend.
Yes. We were all experiencing symptoms of some kind within about a 72-hour period of time.
Wow.
And during that period of time, we'd obviously had some of us had other interactions with other people within the family, so it began to spread very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you ended up in the hospital. Your father-in-law, his mom were also hospitalized at the same time, and in total, 14 of your family members got sick.
That's correct.
So that includes others who hadn't even been at the house. Your father-in-law, I know, was on a ventilator, and what happened?
It's weird because, we had a great relationship, always on the phone with one another in each other's presence, but during the period of time that he was in the hospital, we both went in the same day. I ended up out like 3 or 4 days. They had saved me from having a stroke. It had attacked my nervous system, and they kept me for observation. I was trying to figure out, where he was at in the hospital. It was the same location, which floor are you on, all the details. And we just communicate back and forth, and he just seemed like he was gaining his energy. He was positive, looking forward to going home, but he's joking around with me on the phone at 1 o'clock on this Sunday afternoon, and by 5 or 6 o'clock that afternoon, he was on a ventilator. I mean, it was completely just blindsided.
And he didn't get off the ventilator. He died.
No, that's right.
You've written about this, and you talk about some level of guilt over pushing it to have the get together. I'm wondering how you see it now and why you wanted to speak about it.
The feeling that I have, Anderson, is kind of like what I would say a drunk driver would have if they killed their family. It was unintentional. This was my home. This is where it happened. So there's a sense of responsibility, even though I'm pragmatic enough to know that we don't know who had it. It may have been him, my father-in-law, and he may have given it to his mother had we not have gotten together. And the same results would have happened, just fewer infected. We don't know that.
I know you voted for President Trump, and I'm wondering what you made of the White House administration's response to this overall.
Yeah, a fair question. I'm looking at the totality of this presidency. Some of the things that he's done that are very special and very important. This is a major blunder, and I'm saying that with full sincerity. Yes, I consider it when I consider who's the candidate that deserves my vote, and I don't really have a lot of excuses for failure. It was a big. There should have been more mitigation that was done in the beginning. It should have been taken more seriously by the administration. There should have been more conformity within the panel or the ones that were spearheading this and roundtabling, coming up with protocols and things. I think that should have been a lot more uniform with people's responses. it seemed like they'd be behind the president and they'd be at a press conference or briefing. They'd have an agreement between one another before that, something, but they would leave the podium and instantly go and say something that contradicted somebody that was standing next to the president. That made it very, very hard to not only follow but digest.
Let me ask, because I think your perspective is really interesting and really important. Do you think if the president had clearly said, "I'm going to wear a mask, everybody should wear a mask, this is the patriotic thing to do," and actually did that, do you, as a supporter of his, would that have made any difference? Maybe it wouldn't, but I'm just curious.
With me, I mean, it was a lot of things, but I think yes, it would have been convincing to have that. I think that that's a very fair question, and yeah, if he were asking me, I'd tell him the same in person. I do think that maybe left a lot of people open to getting an infection that they could have maybe avoided. So I'll give you that one.
Bottom line, though, your message to people right now who are watching, who might wear a mask, might not, and think it's overblown and a hoax.
All I can do is just say, I have to be the example. We have to be the example to, I guess, bring awareness, but also tell people, hey, whatever it is that you've got in the works, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, we're coming up on Christmas. It's a hard time for people, I understand that, but just take a little bit of extra precaution. When you're around others, try to have your events in larger homes or outside if the weather's permitting, or just, if you're nervous about it, I don't say don't be afraid of it. I think that you've got a reason to be afraid of it. I think you should, maybe bow out this year if there are legitimate concerns for that. So.
Well, Tony, it's a difficult thing to talk about, and I really appreciate what you wrote about it and what you said today, and thank you very much. I wish you and your family the best.
Very much. Thank you.